stop what you're doing. What I'm about to tell you could be the difference between receiving everything the supermoon promised you and losing it all within the next 72 hours. The supermoon has passed. You felt the energy. You received the downloads. You experienced the activation. And now you think the work is done. But that assumption, that dangerous, costly assumption, is exactly what will destroy every blessing that was released for you. Here's the truth nobody is telling you. The supermoon was just the ignition. What happens right now, in these hours after the peak, will determine whether those blessings actually reach you or slip through your fingers forever. And the universe is speaking to you through signs, urgent, specific signs designed to guide you through the most critical window of manifestation you'll experience all year. If you're ready to protect what's yours and refuse to lose your blessing through ignorance, drop a like right now, subscribe to this channel, and comment, "I see the signs," to anchor your awareness and signal to the universe that you're paying attention. Ignoring these signs won't just delay your blessing, it will actively destroy it. And by the end of this message, you'll understand exactly why, and more importantly, exactly what to do about it. The Beaver supermoon has passed its peak, but its energy is still rippling through reality, still working in invisible realms where destinies are forged and blessings take form. You felt it during those powerful hours, that surge of clarity, that undeniable knowing, that sense that something monumental shifted within you. The portals opened, downloads came, activations occurred, and now, as the moon retreats from fullness, most people think the work is done. They believe whatever was meant to happen has already happened, and all that's left is waiting for blessings to materialize. But here's what most spiritual teachers won't tell you. The supermoon was just the catalyst, the divine spark that set forces into motion. What happens in these hours and days immediately after is equally critical, perhaps even more so than what happened during the event itself. Right now, the universe is speaking to you in urgent and specific language. It's sending signs, clear, unmistakable signs designed to guide you, protect you, warn you, and direct you toward manifestation of everything you've been calling in. These aren't random occurrences you can dismiss. These are intentional communications from divine intelligence, and ignoring them will cost you everything. Understand this with absolute clarity. The blessing you received during the supermoon is not yet fully yours. It's been approved. It's been released from the spiritual realm. It's traveling towards you through dimensions and timelines. But it hasn't landed in your physical reality yet. Between the spiritual promise and material manifestation, there's a gap, a threshold, a testing ground. In that gap, your response to the signs you're receiving will determine whether that blessing reaches you intact or whether it gets redirected, delayed, diminished, or completely revoked. The enemy knows this. Dark forces understand manifestation mechanics better than most spiritual seekers. They know they couldn't block you during the supermoon itself. Cosmic protection was too strong, your vibration too high, divine support too overwhelming. But now, as energy normalizes, as you relax back into ordinary consciousness, as initial excitement fades and doubt creeps in, this is when they strike. Not with obvious attacks, but with subtle interference, whispers of rationalization, distractions disguised as opportunities, people and situations that seem harmless but carry frequencies designed to pull you off course. Their most effective weapon is getting you to ignore the signs, to dismiss them as imagination, explain them away with logic, be so focused on big dramatic manifestations that you miss small, crucial guidance being offered in the present moment. When you ignore signs after the supermoon, you're telling the universe, I don't trust your guidance. I'll do this my way. And the universe, respecting your free will step back. It will stop sending signs. It will allow you to navigate dangerous territory ahead without protection and direction you desperately need. Your blessing, the one that was so close, so ready, so perfectly aligned, will miss you entirely. The first thing you need to understand is that signs after the supermoon operate on a completely different frequency than signs during the event. During the supermoon, signs tend to be affirming, encouraging, validating, synchronicities confirming you're on the right path, that prayers have been heard, that manifestations are coming. Those signs feel good. They inspire confidence and hope. But signs coming after serve a different purpose entirely. These signs are protective, corrective, and directional. They're designed to keep you aligned during the vulnerable period between spiritual promise and physical manifestation. And they often come in forms that are uncomfortable, confusing, or even alarming. This is where most people go wrong. They're expecting more feel-good confirmation. When signs arrive feeling different, more urgent, more challenging, more demanding of attention and action, they dismiss them. They think, that can't be a real sign because it doesn't feel good, or that's just my anxiety, or I'm probably overthinking this. With each dismissal, each rationalization, each failure to recognize and respond, they drift further from the pathway leading to their blessing. Let me give you examples of what post-supermoon signs actually look like, because recognizing them is the first step to honoring them. Sudden, strong, intuitive hits. You might experience knowing about people in your life, realizing someone you've trusted is actually working against you, or understanding that a relationship you've been holding onto needs to end immediately. These downloads often come from nowhere with no logical explanation, frequently contradicting what your rational mind wants to believe. This is your higher self, working with spiritual guides and divine intelligence activated by the supermoon, giving you information needed to protect your blessing from interference. But what do most people do? They question it, talk themselves out of it, think that's probably just my insecurity, or I'm being paranoid, or I should give them the benefit of the doubt. Because they ignore the sign, they remain in proximity to people and situations energetically incompatible with where they're going. Those incompatible frequencies create drag, resistance, and blockage, preventing the blessing from reaching them. Resurfacing old patterns. Another common sign is sudden resurfacing of old patterns, addictions, or temptations you thought you'd moved beyond. You might crave substances you'd quit, fantasize about relationships you'd released, or be pulled back toward behaviors you'd outgrown. This isn't random. It's not backsliding. This is the universe showing you what still needs healing, what final layer of programming needs clearing, what last attachment must be severed before you're truly ready to embody the new level you're being called into. It's saying, before I can give you what you've asked for, you need to prove to yourself, more than to me, that you're really done with this old way of being. If you ignore this sign, if you indulge the craving, or entertain the temptation, or slip back into old patterns just this once, you're telling the universe you're not actually ready for the new blessing. Physical signs. Your body speaks too. You might experience exhaustion sleep doesn't fix, headaches with no medical cause, digestive issues appearing from nowhere, or general feelings of being physically off. Most people treat these as random health problems to medicate or endure. But more often than not, these physical symptoms are signs. Your body telling you you're carrying energy that doesn't belong to you, that you're in toxic environments or relationships, or that you need to slow down and create space for integration of spiritual upgrades you just received. When you ignore physical signs, you're ignoring wisdom of the vessel that has to carry your blessing into manifestation. Your body is not separate from your spiritual journey. It's the instrument through which spiritual reality becomes physical. Technology and electronic signs. After the supermoon, you might notice devices behaving strangely, specific apps crashing, certain contacts unable to reach you, posts or messages failing to send. You might experience repeated exposure to specific content. Same song everywhere, same phrase in multiple contexts, same imagery across different platforms. These aren't glitches or algorithms. The universe uses whatever language you'll understand. In our digital age, that increasingly means communicating through technology we interact with constantly. When a specific person's messages keep failing to send, that's a sign to reconsider communication with them. When you keep seeing content about a particular topic, that's a sign to pay attention to that area. When your phone dies at a moment forcing you to be present instead of distracted, that's a sign to notice what's happening in your immediate environment. Dream signs. Perhaps the most potent form of guidance after the supermoon comes during sleep, when your conscious mind's defenses are down and your higher self can communicate more directly. You might have vivid symbolic dreams, feeling significant even if you don't fully understand them. Dreams about people from your past, situations that haven't happened yet, or impossible scenarios carrying emotional weight. These aren't random neural firing. They're downloads, warnings, prophecies, and instructions encoded in symbolic language your subconscious understands. Ignoring dream signs is especially costly because they often contain the most specific and actionable guidance. The universe will show you in a dream exactly who to avoid, exactly what choice to make, exactly what trap is being set. But it shows you in symbols, requiring you to slow down, reflect, and decode the message. Let's talk about why ignoring these signs doesn't just delay your blessing, it actively destroys it. There's a mechanism at play here, a spiritual law governing how manifestations move from potential to actual. When the supermoon activated release of your blessing, it set in motion a series of events, encounters, and opportunities naturally leading you to receive what you've been calling in. But this sequence is not automatic or guaranteed. It requires your participation, your responsiveness, your willingness to follow guidance offered in real time. Think of it like this. Imagine the universe created a path through dense forest leading directly to your blessing. But this path isn't clearly marked or obviously visible. It's revealed one step at a time through signs. One sign tells you to turn left at a certain tree. Another tells you to stop and wait when you hear a specific sound. Another tells you to avoid a clearing that looks inviting but actually contains danger. As long as you're reading and following these signs, you stay on the path. But the moment you start ignoring them, I don't feel like turning left, I'll just keep going straight. Or, that warning about the clearing is probably nothing. You step off the path. Once you're off the path, you're in unmarked territory where the blessing cannot reach you because it's traveling along the path you've abandoned. But it gets worse. When you ignore signs after the supermoon, you're not just neutral. You're actually generating resistance and counter-intention. Every ignored sign creates a small energetic block, a place where your frequency drops. where doubt takes root, where you signal to the universe you're not actually fully committed to receiving what you say you want. These blocks accumulate. One ignored sign creates a pebble of resistance. 2 create a stone. 5 create a boulder. Eventually, you've built a wall so thick that even if your blessing arrives at your doorstep, it cannot pass through to reach you. This is why some people spend years feeling like they're so close to breakthrough but never quite getting there. They received initial activation, maybe from the supermoon, maybe from another cosmic event, and the blessing was genuinely released. But then they ignored sign after sign after sign. Now, they're standing behind a wall of their own creation, wondering why nothing's changing, never realizing the very thing they've been waiting for has been trying to reach them the entire time, but cannot penetrate the barrier they built through neglect and dismissal. There's also time sensitivity that makes ignoring signs after the supermoon particularly destructive. The window immediately following a major lunar event is what spiritual traditions call a grace period, a time when the veil is still thin, when manifestation energy is still elevated, when course corrections are still relatively easy to make. If you receive a sign today that you're meant to end a relationship and you act on it today, that ending can happen with relative ease and minimal drama. The other person might even be surprisingly receptive, or circumstances might naturally create distance. But if you ignore that sign and wait weeks or months to finally act on what you knew you needed to do, you'll find the process is 10 times harder, more painful, and more complicated. The grace period will have closed. The easy path will have expired. You'll have to do the hard way what could have been simple if you just listened when first told. The same principle applies to opportunities. Doors are opening for you. Specific doors, time-sensitive doors, doors that won't remain open indefinitely. Signs you're receiving are often directing you toward these doors. Check your email right now. Call this person today. Apply for this opportunity before Friday. Say yes to this invitation even though you're tired. These aren't arbitrary suggestions. They're divine coordination. The universe aligning timing, people, and circumstances, creating an opening for you. But these openings have expiration dates. If you ignore the sign to act today, the door you were meant to walk through might be closed by tomorrow. The person you were supposed to connect with might have moved on. The opportunity you were meant to claim might have been given to someone who was paying attention. And here's what makes this heartbreaking. You might not even realize what you missed. You'll just know something feels off, that you're still waiting, that breakthrough still hasn't come. You won't know that 3 days ago there was a door with your name on it, and you walked right past it because you ignored the sign telling you to turn your head and look. Let's also address the role of dark interference in getting you to ignore signs, because this is real and strategic. When the supermoon released your blessing, every force that benefits from you, remaining small, stuck, and disempowered, went on high alert. These forces cannot directly stop your blessing. The divine decree has been made, cosmic wheels are in motion, but they can interfere with your ability to receive it. Their primary tactic is creating noise, distraction, and confusion around signs you're being given. Suddenly, right when you most need clarity and focus, everything becomes chaotic. Emergencies arise. Drama erupts. People need you. Problems demand attention. Your mind becomes cluttered with worry, planning, and reactivity. In this state of overwhelm and distraction, subtle signs the universe is sending get drowned out by noise. You miss the intuitive hit because your thoughts are racing. You ignore the dream because you're too tired from dealing with chaos. You dismiss the synchronicity because you're too stressed to notice. This is not accidental. This is coordinated attack on your awareness, designed to keep you from receiving guidance during the most critical window. Most people don't recognize it as an attack. They think they're just having a bad week, dealing with bad luck, struggling through a rough patch. They don't realize they're being deliberately kept in a state preventing them from seeing and following signs that would lead them to their blessing. So what do you do? How do you ensure you don't become another casualty of ignored signs, another person who had their blessing in hand and lost it through inattention? The answer is both simple and demanding. Commit to radical awareness. Make noticing and honoring signs your highest priority for the next 7 to 14 days following the supermoon. Not your job, not your relationships, not your responsibilities. Those things matter. But nothing matters more than staying connected to divine guidance during this critical window. Radical awareness means creating space for stillness and reflection. Saying no to things that don't absolutely have to happen right now. Declining invitations, pulling your energy outward when you need to be tuned inward. Setting boundaries with people who drain your capacity for presence and attention. Morning rituals that ground you and attune you to subtle guidance. Evening practices helping you process signs received during the day and prepare you to receive more through dreams. Keeping a sign journal, actually writing down intuitive hits, synchronicities, strange occurrences, physical sensations, dream fragments. When you write them down, you're acknowledging them, telling the universe, I saw this, I'm paying attention, I recognize you're speaking to me. That acknowledgement strengthens the communication channel, making future signs clearer and easier to recognize. Trusting your first instinct, even when it doesn't make logical sense. When you feel suddenly compelled to take a different route home, you take it. When you get a strong no about a person or opportunity, you honor it without needing to understand why. When you dream about something 3 nights in a row, you assume it's significant and investigate what it might mean. Stop dismissing your inner knowing. Stop explaining away your intuition. Stop letting other people's opinions override what you know in your bones to be true. Being willing to act on guidance quickly, even when it's inconvenient or uncomfortable. If the sign says, end this relationship, you end it. If the sign says, leave this job, you start making plans. If the sign says, move to a different city, you begin researching how that could happen. You don't wait for perfect conditions or complete certainty or everyone's approval. You trust that the universe wouldn't be directing you somewhere you're not meant to go. And you move when you're told to move. Understand this. Your blessing is not coming despite these signs. It's coming through these signs. The signs are not separate from your manifestation. They are the very mechanism through which your manifestation arrives. Each sign you honor is a step toward your blessing. Each sign you ignore is a step away from it. It's really that simple and really that serious. The universe has done its part. The supermoon activated the release. The blessing has been approved and sent. The path has been cleared. The doors have been opened, but you have to walk the path. You have to cross the threshold. You have to receive what's being offered. And the only way you can do that is by following the signs that guide you there. This is not mystical theory or spiritual philosophy. This is practical instruction for how to claim what's yours. The people who receive their blessings after powerful cosmic events are not luckier or more favored than those who don't. They're simply more attentive, more responsive, more willing to trust divine guidance over their own limited understanding. They treat signs as sacred communication rather than meaningless coincidence. They honor their intuition as divine instruction rather than irrational feeling. They act on guidance rather than analyzing it to death. You are standing at a crossroads right now. The Beaver supermoon has delivered you to this moment of choice. One path leads to full manifestation of everything you've been calling in. The abundance, the relationships, the opportunities, the healing, the elevation, the freedom. The other path leads back to the same patterns, the same struggles, the same cycles you've been trying to break free from. And the path you take is determined not by dramatic decisions or grand gestures, but by whether you pay attention to and honor the signs you're receiving in mundane moments of everyday life. The signs are there. They're coming through right now. They will continue to come through for the next week or two, but they will not continue indefinitely. If you consistently ignore them, they will stop coming. The universe will conclude that you're not ready or not willing, and it will redirect the blessing to someone who is, not as punishment, but as respect for your free will and stewardship of resources you've been offered. So I'm begging you, don't let this happen to you. Don't be the person who looks back 6 months from now wondering what went wrong, why the breakthrough never came, why you're still stuck in the same place despite all the spiritual work you've done. The answer will be that you ignored the signs. You dismissed the guidance. You thought you knew better than divine intelligence trying to help you. And by the time you realized your mistake, the window had closed. But that doesn't have to be your story. You can choose differently right now. You can commit to radical awareness. You can honor the signs as the sacred communication they are. You can trust divine guidance, even when it challenges your comfort or contradicts your plans. You can be among the ones who actually receive what was promised, who step into the new timeline, who become living proof that when you align with the universe, miracles stop being rare and start being your normal reality. The moment you found this message was not an accident. This is itself a sign that you needed this information, that you're being called to higher awareness, that your blessing is real and close and dependent on your next choices. The signs are speaking. The question is, are you listening? The Beaver Moon has done its work, but only those who are paying attention will receive the blessing. Comment below what signs you've been receiving since the supermoon. Your awareness might help another chosen one recognize what they've been missing.